these energies have been off the hook. Losing your mind, coming back again, solstice, really intense dreams, like really segmented, disjointed dreams, very clear dreams, feeling like you're walking in two worlds, dimensions merging, premonitions, deja vu, heightened sensitivity, people who have left this realm, lost their mind, not come back again, higher dimensions and lower dimensions, like walking in two worlds, but it's the same world. But the only reason it's like there's a higher dimension and a lower dimension walking in both worlds, right? There's people walking in both worlds, and like you'll be here in a higher frequency realm, a lower dimensional realm, and it's like you're experiencing, it's the same time, but it's like this person experiences a completely different reality and you're experiencing it at the same time, but it takes longer for this person to experience it because you're in a higher realm, and so it takes time for it to hit this realm. These are the energies going on right now. I really want to talk about this because this is such a strong conversation in my inner circle clients at the moment and with other people that I know, and it's just like, oh, that's right, it's solstice. Oh, that's right, like huge dimensional shifts are happening right now, and I'm so curious if you're feeling like this. I'm wondering if you're feeling like fluey or like headachy or dizzy or can't sleep. These are really strong energies at the moment, and I really feel they're very strong ascension symptoms. I don't talk about ascension symptoms very much because I feel like a lot of people need to take better care of their body. But I do feel that at this time, ascension symptoms are really strong. So much I want to discuss with you. Let me know how you've been feeling, especially in the past like 3 to 5 days, particularly. And we're going to talk about what's coming up because this has just been next level insane. Literally like losing your mind and coming back again and wondering like, is this like what's actually happening here? I'm just going to share this live stream. And what I also want to say is like we have Transcendence coming up, and we're starting on the 13th of January. We'll start on the 7th with the full moon ceremony. I run Transcendence every 9 months. Yeah, it's a 9-month portal that we go through the 6-week journey. It's very powerful. Once you're in that group, it's a lifetime access, so you can do each round as we do it. And what was coming through just before I got on this live stream is that it's very interesting, like what we're feeling with these shifts in dimensional realities right now, that I wonder what this round of transcendence is going to be like, because transcendence is literally like the meaning of transcendence is, you know, transcending reality, right? But however, when I got the message of transcendence, it's literally like we're coming to this reality. Like transcendence technically means transcending out of this reality, but it's opposite for me because the world's upside down. We've everything askew-if, and so we're flicking it back around, if you may. So I'm really like curious, especially after these energies, of what transcendence is going to be like this round, yeah? So just sharing this in one last place. So the super early bird for Transcendence closes in a few hours. Then we go up to early bird, then it'll be full price. So that's Transcendence. The link is in the title of this live stream. You can check it out, you know, join us. Like I said, you get lifetime access once you're in there. It's a potent 6-week journey, and I'm just like, wow, with these current energies and solstice and everything going on, I'm like, it's going to be very interesting. Let's put it that way. Talk about upgrades, because this has just been huge. Like the energies and the stuff that's been going on is just insanely massive, right? So Deborah says, I was sick for the last 5 days. Yeah, like there's been a few people that are sick or unwell or just like losing their mind, and like I forgot that it was solstice. Like I think it was like yesterday, and I'm like, oh, that's right, it's like solstice as well. So, and a new moon. I think a new moon is Saturday. Where are we? Friday. So Friday is new moon as well. So we've got solstice now or tomorrow, depending on where you are in the world. And new moon this week. So it's like dark moon energy right now because it's dark moon leading into new moon. So it's very, very low. And so this is where I want to talk about. I'm just going to flick this camera around because I do want to, I forgot to do this before. I do want to draw on this diagram to explain this. Like, it's just phenomenal what's been coming through with clients and people. Hang on a sec. So I just wanted to share this with you and just check in with where you guys are at. And whilst I'm getting organized, have you checked out my YouTube channel, Reality Awareness? So you can find it if you scroll up on my page. I did a little video about it. I started doing daily psychic readings and are tuning into the energy on like morning, lunchtime, and dinner time, nighttime. So you can subscribe and check that out. Hang on, I'm not organized. Some people think I'm really organized, and I am, but I'm creative chaos organized. Like, even if you saw my story just today, my whole office is full of merch. So you know, I realized that I need a bigger house because I need a full merch room. And because you guys are sending me amazing like things to me, drawings and so much stuff, I'm like, yeah, we really need a merch room now. Like, I said that to Adaya and she's like, wait, I'll show you this YouTuber who's got this full merch room. I'm like, yeah, that's what I was talking about. Anyway, yeah, crazy shit going on. Yes, new moon Friday, crazy shit going on, heavy energies, just insane. And when I've been like tuning into it, I'm like, what the hell? So the past few days have been, when I say like losing my mind and come back again, like literally like Sunday, Monday. So this is Australian time. Sunday, Monday, like started off good. And then it just went into this, like, I want to say like old patterns came up, but it wasn't old patterns. It like, I'll just share me personally, right? And you guys can relate it, I'm sure. I felt like I had this sudden urge to like get all this personal stuff like sorted out. Like, it had been sitting there for too long, for example. And it wasn't that like I hadn't dealt with it. It was just like time to deal with it. And for the past month, I'm like, gotta sort that out, gotta sort that out. And it was just like, there was space in my schedule. And of course I could like create space to deal with it, but it wasn't urgent and it was just on my mind, right? And it was just time to go and sort it out. And brought stuff home, like, and it just like the energy, it was like lose your mind material. Like, it was just crazy. Like, what the hell? And then my daughter was like feverish, and I'm just like, what's going on here? Like, you know, and when I was tuning in, I knew, and like, it was like a big clear out. Like, what happened to me last year with the dog attack was a big clear out. And I was like, this is clearing out for her. Like, whatever, you know, deep stuff was going on, I knew what was going on. And so, you know, sort of rolling with it, but I was just like, and then the next day, Monday, I planned to like film and work, of course, Monday, and all this sideswipe stuff happened. I was like, oh my God, I have to deal with this now. Like, and I was just a mess because like, I'm one going with the flow, but when I've got workflow planned, like, that's like, stop me from doing my work and you'll know about it. Right? And it's like, I was so fuming, but I'm like, fine, I just have to go and do this thing. And it was like, it was clearing out old patterns whilst living them, but I wasn't reliving them, but I was clearing it out, but it was old stuff. And then, you know, and it was like, I feel like I've lost my mind and come back, like, because once I got it sorted, I felt normal again. And the other message that I got as well was like, if you're not doing what is in total alignment for your soul, like moving forward, you're going to experience a hard time. Like, that was a really strong message coming through. Like, if you're not in full alignment of your soul and your purpose, you're going to be experiencing a hard time. Now, let me take this a little bit deeper. So I actually drew this the other day, and I'm just going to use this for now unless I feel called to draw another one. So since I just got the paper and pens out, you know. So if anybody has seen the movie Inception, okay, and with Leonardo DiCaprio and talking about the dream state. So let me know if you've seen that or not. I'm not sending you down rabbit holes. I'm not saying you have to watch it, but that movie I was always obsessed with, right? And, you know, like they talk about the dream layer state. I haven't watched it for a little bit. It's not, so I can't remember exactly, so don't quote me on this, right? But you know how like they say, it's like, you know, when they go into the dream state with the serum or whatever, it's like 5 hours in like normal reality equates to 100 hours on the dream state and we're like the deepest level or something like that, or it's 10 years, I think, not 100 years, like something, right? And it was so interesting because when I was talking with my clients, and I feel like I've lost my mind and come back on Monday, and then yesterday all this stuff was dropping in, and I was just like, wow, like, and so many people told me things yesterday. It was just like so full on. And so okay, before I show you this bit, what I was like getting, now who remembers and who has followed me and remembers, I think it was April 2018 from memory. I remember it specifically, or maybe it was June, July. It was either April or June, and I did a live stream and I was like, got the message and like, it's not linear, it's not linear, it's not linear. It's not linear anymore. And it was a really strong message back then. And like, I got the message back then, it was like, it's not linear, meaning like, it's not an up and down straight line anymore. Okay. Like reality is what I'm talking about. Like it's not an up and down straight line. Yeah. And so it's not linear anymore, meaning that it's like turned on its side and it's like this big, flat, this is a flat round thing, right? It's not linear anymore. It's flat and round now, and it's like a big web. Okay. If this was a big spider web, I don't know how to draw a spider web. Okay. It's not linear anymore. It's not linear anymore. It's flat. And that was really, really strong. It was either April or June 2018, sorry. If you want to watch that replay, just type in the comments linear, okay, and I'll put it in. It was really strong back then, and it was so strong. Now, yesterday, when after processing Sunday, Monday, and then Tuesday, yesterday, everyone telling me all this stuff, and I was just like all this information coming in, plus with what happened to me on Monday night, which I'm not going to share, but my inner circle clients know, I was like, going to share it. I'm like, no, I just don't feel ready to share that yet. Anyway, so it's not linear, okay? Yesterday, and even this morning, and someone showed me something the other day. Do you guys know this symbol? I'm just going to draw it. I don't really look too deeply into symbols. I know there's a big thing about symbols. I don't really know, and I do know, and I'm just like, symbols, whatever, right? Yes and no. Because who really knows the meaning of them, okay? But you guys might recognize this symbol, okay? And I saw this symbol somewhere. I can't remember where I saw it. And it's something about like, don't quote me on this, it was something like day, night, up and down or something. I was like, well, that's kind of interesting. It was something like that. It's not that. Can't remember off the top of my head. It was a simple but deep meaning. Now, that came to me this morning. And then yesterday, like I said, back in 2018, it's not linear anymore, right? It's not up and down anymore. It's not linear. It's flat now. Yesterday, what it felt like, okay, let me see if I can draw this again. What it felt like is it's not linear anymore. Back then, it's now not even linear anymore. It's literally like the vortex of the frequency. And I know this is like probably a no-brainer and a Hannah. That's just how it is for some people, but it was really significant, right? And so now it's not linear anymore. It is linear, but it's not linear. It's literally like the high frequency and low frequency of reality. Like this is reality, okay? So I'm just writing this reality, like the whole thing is reality, okay? Right, just, there's been a reality shift. There's been a consciousness shift, okay? Like, so we've gone from, linear to not linear to now it's like come back up and it's now the spinning vortex spiral. Now, again, some people might be like, Hannah, that's just what reality is. And maybe it's true. Maybe I've just shifted from this frequency into this frequency. I don't know. But I know a lot of people have also shifted. And maybe it's just us on a like congruence of timeline, perhaps, right? But with this like low frequency and high frequency, with everything that everyone's been telling me in the past few days and what I've experienced, and it's solstice, so there is a big shift, right? Like, but I feel there's a big shift more than ever before, and there's pole shift stuff going on. Now, people have talked about pole shift for ages, but there's been significant shifts just recently. Apparently in April, we're going to experience a big something. Usually when there's like a big something, people are like, oh, it's the end of the world. No, I don't really believe that. I believe it's always, always an end of a current consciousness cycle for sure, right? In some way, shape or form, 100%. I feel that there will be some deeper shifts. Like we have experienced weird weather. It's like here in Australia, it's like peak summertime, almost getting to peak summertime, but it's summer, and we're wearing jumpers and coats again in some areas of Australia that it's like, it's summer, isn't it? My fruit trees have been doing weird stuff this like seasons. Anyway, back to the point. This reality of high frequency and low frequency is so distinct right now, and this is what I was writing on the title of this live stream. It is so distinct and tangible. So let's say, for example, okay, coming back to that, like at high frequency, it's like 5 hours to do something, okay? But in the low frequency, it's going to take you like, I'm exaggerating here, but it's going to take you 100 years, okay? This is what I'm talking about that's like really distinct right now for quite a lot of people that I've talked to. Time is different. Time is very disjointed. Time is very different. Time is something else at the moment. And a lot of people agree that time is different. Some days are really slow. Some days are really fast. Some days are just out of time. Like the past maybe month, like I've thought many days, I'm like, oh, it's Saturday, no, it's Wednesday. Like there's been a lot of people that have been feeling that too. And I feel like this is part of the shift that's been happening of like this spiraling, you know, like energy shift. Like there's definitely something happening. So back to this minute here for a minute, let's look at it on a very tangible aspect, right? So, you know, like, my clients have shared with me a couple of things, and then I've experienced it as well. I'm like, I thought it was the other day. I'm like, why is this happening? Oh, it's still Monday. Like just weird out of time stuff. And what it is, I feel, is that like we'll be sitting here now. Okay, there's a person sitting here. So you're in this level of frequency. Okay, and this is like loopholing around, similar to what they talk about on Interstellar. Like the movie with the wormhole and it loops back around and all that shit, right? This is like, we're experiencing it tangible real time now. Why are we experiencing it now more than ever? And I feel like there's people here on this high frequency bandwidth where they're experiencing something in their life and they're feeling it. And this is like, is it intuition? Right? It's intuition, or like, oh, I just got intuition that's going to happen, but looking around, oh, it hasn't happened. Oh, okay, we're getting a feeling about that, but not. And then like the next day or that night, getting confirmation that, this sounds really judgmental, but bear with me while I explain this. But this person on this low frequency did experience, say, like, you know, the car crash, for example, in this spot where this person was like, oh, I feel like there's a crash. No, I'm not going to crash. No one's going to crash into me. No. Okay, go home, that was weird. Okay, maybe it was intuition. Then find out there was an actual car accident there, like moments later, hours later after you were there. And it's like, this is where the timeline convergence is not even a thing anymore. It's that you're on this high frequency bandwidth. This is like a lower frequency, so it's taking time for this one to catch up with this one. Does that make sense? And or what comes first, chicken or the egg? Or we're like feeling it and it's like taking this long for it to actually happen. And so this person on this bandwidth is actually what it happens. Now, another like interplay in this, and I do believe that there is like a whole convergence of timelines interplaying into this like concept that I'm talking about here. It's not just one thing, it's a whole convergence of realities and timelines all interplaying into, now we live in this spiraling vortex of the high frequency and the low frequency bandwidth. And the people who have done a lot of, you know, personal development work in the last however long, I feel have been pulling everyone up with them. And there's a lot of people on this and they're like, oh, you know, I'm not experiencing this level of pain anymore. Usually I would be like really upset right now, or usually like, oh, well, I must have just done the past life work to heal that karma. And it's like, yeah, you have. And also this is happening. And also like, it's like, yes, you've done the personal development work, you've done the past life karma work, you've done that shift. And so this happens and it's like, well, wow, okay, but you could be experiencing that if you were on this bandwidth of frequency. Does that make sense? It's kind of like you're thinking that, oh, well, this could be happening. Oh, that's not happening. That's strange. Oh, maybe I did this work. Or maybe it's intuition. Or maybe it's the past life healing. Like, yes, all of that. Because by doing that, you've shifted into this frequency. You've healed it. And so you're not here anymore experiencing the full karma drama, if you may, of that timeline and that frequency. And so now you're experiencing it here. And this time last year, about November last year, there was a lot of us that have gone, okay, so, you know, we can heal through joy. Yes, we can heal through joy. And that's a choice, to heal through joy. So we can be learning the same experiences and lessons, but through joy instead of pain. And this is where a lot of people are going, oh, we don't need to like experience that level of trauma anymore, and or they've healed it. And so now they're here and not here. And so these people are still on a rough ride, and the great awakening, the great consciousness shift, people awakening are waking up to this fact that we don't have to go through this level of pain and drama and trauma to learn lessons. And I feel like a lot of people are spiraling up to here now. Now, I know this live stream sounds very judgmental, but I was just explaining those levels of frequency, if you may. Now, you know, I'm not saying that this is like 100% true for everybody, because it depends where you are on the frequency bandwidth. And it's not that it's good, bad, right or wrong that you're not on that bandwidth or whatever, like, you know, whatever. Some people are going to be triggered by what I'm saying here, and maybe this is not for you. Or maybe it's something to deeply look at. Alongside that, it's like dimensions are merging. And so like the veil is thin. You've probably heard those terminologies, like the veil is thin, but its dimensions are merging. We've heard about parallel realities before. We've heard about, you know, like we can be living parallel lives. And whilst, you know, what's true? Who really knows, right? Maybe this on this lower frequency of living is where past lives, the karma from them, parallel lives, like more impact people. When we shift to a higher frequency, it doesn't impact us as much, because we're not carrying that, number one, level of low vibration. Number two, it's not stuck in our energetic field, which wouldn't be attracting it then to an extent. Do you know what I mean? And then up here, it's also, we transmute it a lot faster. 5 hours equals 100 years. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like it doesn't take us as long to learn lessons. Like we can look at something and awareness heals. Like we have a realization and an aha and it heals something, you know? So Parallel Lives explains it perfectly. It's been a weird realization of convergence. Yes, exactly. And I feel like the parallel lives are also like this sense of like, we can choose to be in whichever timeline and frequency. And I do feel, remember, I think it was last year, or was it, I think it was last year. It might have been the year before, 2020, coming into 2021. I think it was then, December 2020, January 2021. And remember in December 2020, a lot of people said, the Earth's splitting in two. And I was like, the consciousness is splitting. Right? And I feel like now even more, this is where we're at with it now. There's a very distinct, you're on this plane or you're on this plane. And so I was saying to my client as well, the movie, and there's a book, what's it called? I forget off the top of my head right now. Oh, it's on the tip of my tongue. It'll come to me. Where they're literally like in a higher vibration. And they talk about this in the Mayan civilization, right? They're in a higher vibration. There's people chasing them through the jungle, and like people chasing through the jungle, and like, but they step into their heart, they step into a not fear vibration, and they literally are in a higher vibration. Celestine prophecy, thank you. It's on the tip of my tongue. I know we just spoke about this, right? I'm like, why did I think about this? And they're being chased through the jungle. And instead of like the bad people, so to speak, like the lower frequency people with guns and chasing them down and want to kill them, basically, it is like they're running through them, but they're standing right next to them and they run straight past them because they're in a higher bandwidth, they're in the higher frequency, and they're in the heart frequency. They're not in fear, they're in pure love. And so they're literally running straight past them, but they're in this higher dimension, so they don't see them. Does that make sense? The bad people don't see them because they're in a different dimension, but they're right here. And the Celestine prophecy, I feel, is a prime example of what's happening with consciousness shifting right now and the two dimensions living side by side. Now, I believe there's multi-dimensions living side by side. Like, we feel it at times, solstice, equinox, all those like certain portals of time, interesting, right? Of time that open those veils to this very distinctly, and that's why it's more tangible for a lot of people at these times, or we feel more ghosts at certain times, because there is literally like certain times where things do merge and combine more so than on a normal day, so to speak, and so it's more tangible, right? So yeah, okay, I know I just like shared a lot. It's a very big concept to really like wrap your head around, but it also makes total sense. Yeah, and I think that this is where the quantum healing and the quantum shift comes in, where like depending on where you're at, and 5 hours equals 100 years in the lower dimensions, like it's a thing, right? And isn't it interesting that we're told we live for 100 years roughly? Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, okay, well, what have we been programmed where actually here we live for a lot longer, which is really the truth of it, yeah? It does feel more like parallel reality to me. It feels like two lines next to each other and sometimes they interconnect. Yeah, exactly, yeah. So bubbles, lines, who really knows, energies, portals, dimensions. Maybe one day we'll be told the truth. Maybe we'll just never know, because how can we really explain this, yeah? So, and the heavy energies, I feel, is like I don't know, as an example, like the portal's opening and it's like, whoop, like, do you know what I mean? And then we're sort of like balancing out. And I feel every time that happens, if you may, is like whichever portal, again, chicken or egg, who comes first? We don't know. Portal opens, whoop, pulls it up, you know, and it sort of finds a new level. Or same, pulls it down. I don't know if it pulls it down, which, I don't know. Who comes first, chicken or egg? We don't know. I think there's been solar flares. I haven't really looked at it, but when you say completely drained and tired, there has been like those waves of tiredness as well. I feel like, you know, there is a huge shift and ascension happening right now. I feel it'll really accelerate between now and April. In April, is there going to be a big shift? I don't know. But it's strong regardless, yeah. Really lots of lots of high frequency energy coming in, and the thing is when lots of high frequency energy is coming in to the lower dimensions, there's a lot of people who have heart attacks, high anxiety, tiredness, wiped out, fatigued, lose their mind, come back again, die, like, because it's like it's such a high frequency. It's like the body's like, whoa, what's actually happening? Like the body's got to adjust to these high frequencies, and so this is like the clear out, you know. It's like we clean a cupboard out to organize a cupboard. We need to pull everything out. It's a great big mess, and then we choose what we're going to put back in. I always say that, right? It's an adjustment to the system. Yeah, you can't just put new stuff in there and it looks amazing. You've got to clean the cupboard out, you know what I mean? And it's always a mess when you do that. So, you know, the 4 cornerstones of a balanced life. That's so interesting. Danielle says she drew that symbol lately, but the line's going outside. Yeah, it's so interesting. I know there's a name for it. It's deep in the shamanic world, I'm pretty sure. But yeah, 4 cornerstones: ownership, integrity, vulnerability, and spontaneity. Yeah, someone's can use it for a lot of things, for sure. From the shamanic world, it's like day, night, and something else. They thrown something in the air like a cloud, so it's not so hot. I've heard that. I've heard lots of things. Yeah, there's lots of stuff going on. I think it's a lot bigger than us, to be honest. You know, it's like, quote unquote, we're called conspiracy theories. We're called all the things that they're doing us to stop us from doing this, but it's actually like to stop the other dimensions coming in of all this consciousness awakening. Like, it's way bigger, you know. And as I always say, you can't stop consciousness awakening. So yeah. How do high frequency people experience low frequency shit out of nowhere? So I think that's what I just explained then. It's like at times is it portals that open? Is it a whole new, like, you know, if you can imagine a vortex spiraling up for a period of time, right? It's spiraling up, spiraling up, spiraling up. Like, this is just in my awareness, right? Or something spinning at a certain frequency for a period of time, okay? It's vibrating and it's period of time? Is it spinning? Is it just vibrating? Who knows? Okay. Like, and it's vibrating. It'll get to a point, like, does it get faster? Like, or does it get slower? But it gets to a certain point where it's going to spin so fast that it hits to another level. And then it's like slow frequency. And then it's like gets faster and faster. And then it breaks through to a higher dimension. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, that's sort of the sense that I get as we're shifting and ascending and awakening. It's like we're vibrating and gets faster and then breaks the glass ceiling, and then it's slower because it's on a new frequency, and then it gets faster and then does that make sense? And so when I say that, and it's like, you know, it's opening and it pulls it up, or it's opening and it pulls it down, vice versa, how would we know which comes first, chicken or egg? Like, really what we're really looking at here is understanding, like, the glass ceiling breaks and we're into a new frequency and new dimension. Like, is that what happens when we're like moving into a higher frequency, and like we hit this glass ceiling and all the bad stuff happens because we're about to break through? We know this, right? This is the cycles of life. This is where it moves. Like, you know, it's the laws of the universe ultimately, right? Something's vibrating. Like, we grow in consciousness, it gets faster as a higher frequency is a faster vibrating rate, right? Low frequency is a low, slow rate, right? So as we ascend, it gets higher and then it breaks through to a whole new dimension. Does that make sense? Whole new dimension. So yeah. So low frequency people jump to our timeline. Who knows? Chicken or egg? Did we drop back down? Did we come back up? Was there a veil ripped? Like, was there a tear in the veil because of a trauma experience, or because a trauma is surfacing, and because you've been rising in frequency, so your old traumas are coming out of your body, and so it like opens the door, like, to clear. Do you know what I mean? Like, how do we know? But there's, as I said, there's lots of different realities coming into the convergence of what is, so to speak. But I do know that it feels like truth's coming out. Like, that's a reality too. Of course we know that, right? So yes. Needed more sleep. And it's so important to let yourself rest and sleep during these times when you feel that too, right? It's easier said than done, I know, especially at this time of year, but it's definitely a thing. So lots of TLC, lots of self-care, lots of knowing that there's lots of frequency and energy shifts going on, like 100%. Yeah, like, it's so important to take care of yourself at this time. So the basis of this work, like, you know, like I said, when I got on this live stream, like getting ready for this live stream, I was like, I'm so curious what's going to happen in Transcendence. So when we start on the 13th of January, it's a 6-week journey. And if you looked at the sales page, it like literally we're unplugging from the low frequency and we're adjusting our body, our cells, our mental, physical, emotional state to receive the high frequency, and literally plugging in. There's lots of different avenues, and that's why it's a 6-week journey, because we cover, I want to say, all bases, if you may, and it helps to, you know, use the propellation, is that a word? I just made it a word. To use the acceleration of the ascension in our life. Yeah. So we start Transcendence on the 13th. It technically starts on the 7th, because when you join Transcendence, you get 2 months worth of full moon ceremonies as well, because they play a very big part in Transcendence. So the link is in the title of this live stream. I'll pop it in the comments as well. But this is going to be one incredible 6-week journey of Transcendence. Once you get in there, you get lifetime access. And as I said, we run Transcendence every 9 months, because when I channeled Transcendence, it was like every 9 months we're going to do another round. And again, it's like layered upon layered every time you do the 6-week journey every 9 months, because the 9-month portal as well is an important point in the journey of time. And so when we're shifting into this higher frequency, so I'm really curious about it, because there's some of us that have been there since day one with Transcendence. So yeah, going to be very, very interesting. So there's two. Okay, so Alina's asking, I thought Transcendence has 12 months for ceremonies. So there's Transcendence, which is a 6-week journey, and then there's my inner circle, which is Transcendence Reality Society. Okay, I know they've got the same names, but they also are different. Transcendence, 6-week course. TRS, Transcendence Reality Society, is the inner circle. In the inner circle, you get access to everything. You get access to Trust Your Intuition. If you're at the Laramar level, you get access to full moon ceremonies. You even get access to Transcendence, because any course that I release, any meditation that I release, the full moon ceremonies, you get access to all of it being in the inner circle. Yeah. So there's Transcendence 6 weeks journey, which is what I'm talking about now, that starts on the 13th of January. And if you want to join the inner circle instead, that's where you get access to everything. Yeah. Including Transcendence. Yeah, it's going to be really profound. Exactly. Yeah. So Destiny says, so excited for this round. It's going to be so profound. I can feel it. I know, especially because it's the start of a new year as well. Like, it hasn't begun in January before. So it's like every year we go around, you know, every 9 months, it always starts at a different time, right? This is the first time it started in January. So it's going to be very profound. Sophia says, can't wait for another round. It's been very transforming. I know, right? So yes, awesome. It's never been access to 12 months of full moon ceremonies, Alina. So no, but the inner circle, you get access to 12 months. So maybe that's where you're getting a bit confused there. So link is in the title of this comments. I've popped it in. I'll pin it to the top in these comments as well. If you've got any questions, send me a message. And if you've got any questions about the energies, or you've been experiencing it, or want to share about anything that I've talked about, please comment below and I'll come back and check the comments. And I shall see you very soon. If I don't see you before Christmas, make sure you're checking out my daily psychic readings on YouTube. Going through morning, night, morning, evening, morning, lunchtime, and night. I need to go and have some lunch. And then also I'm doing a Christmas special reading, a New Year's special reading, going over a 2023 mini forecast for you, of course, all over on YouTube, so you can check that out. And I shall see you very soon. Love you guys.